This lesson is to review pronunciation and spelling and why it's important in learning your trade and generic drug names. First, let's talk about why we use generic names. Now, yes, generic names are more difficult to pronounce. However, generics allow healthcare professionals to communicate. Not all practitioners know all brand names. So I'm going to give you the example of ibuprofen. Ibuprofen is a generic name. It's the same everywhere, including pretty much around the world. So most of us know Motrin, or maybe you've heard of Advil, but have any of you heard of Caldolor? That's another name. Not everybody's going to know that, but everybody recognizes ibuprofen. Another reason, there's only one generic name, where, as I just stated, we've got Motrin, we've got Advil, we've got Children's Motrin, Children's Advil. There's many different types of brand names. There's only one ibuprofen. The other part is that many of the generic names are systemic. So as you saw in the first lesson, many of them have drug stems that help identify what pharmaceutical class a drug will fall into. Now we're going to talk about brand names. Why do we use them? Our patients most often are going to use a brand name, so it's usability. They're easier for a patient to pronounce, usually. They are also very recognizable. A lot of patients would know Tylenol or Motrin, where they might not recognize a generic name. The importance of correct pronunciation. Some of it is for patient safety. Many of our drugs are what we call SALAD drugs, which stands for sound alike, look alike. So my example here is Xanax and Zantac. So they sound similar, but if a doctor's handwriting has these on this prescription pad, it may look similar. A cursive Z looks very much like a cursive X. Also, if you're taking a phone order, they may sound similar. Now, a trained professional would understand the dosing is quite different. Zantac would be 150 or 300 milligrams, whereas Xanax is more likely to be 0.25 up to about 2 milligrams. Now, using a generic name, it differentiates. So Zantac is ranitidine, where Xanax is alprazolam, and ranitidine and alprazolam don't sound a whole lot alike. Also, it's professional communication. When you're talking with healthcare professionals, you want to sound like you know what you're talking about. You don't want to mispronounce your drug names. So, to help you do this, I would recommend that you practice. Record yourself, and you can check it against some YouTube recordings. I'll be posting them soon. Tony, the author of the book that we use, has YouTube recordings that are just snippets of how to pronounce the drug names. So I'm going to go over drug list number 1, which is the GI drugs, which is what we're going to do for next week, or start next week, I should say. So I'm going to review these drugs. Some of you may already gotten a head start. Maybe you've been playing with Quizlet, but I'm going to help you review them. And it's kind of a two-part thing. One is pronunciation. So how do we pronounce them right? Now, on the list, when you print it out, you're going to see that I've provided you with a phonetic pronunciation guide. So it's how it sounds, but it's not how it's spelled. You will have the correct spelling next to it. What I'm going to go through today is actually going to break the drug names down, generic, based on similar sounding common words and where those sounds come from, so that you can learn the correct spelling as well as the correct pronunciation. Okay, let's get started with the first one. So this is the drug. Now, I'm not going to pronounce it yet because I want to take you through this process. So how to correctly pronounce this and correctly spell it. So Cal, like California. So here I've got the common word, California, and I've got a picture because many of us are visual learners. I myself am a visual learner. So when I see these pictures, it helps me remember how to say it. The next part of the word, C, pronunciation. So Cal-C. And then the like a drum. So calcium. Now another way to do this is also back building. So starting with the last sound, repeat it, then add in the next one up, and then in this case, the first part, calcium, and it helps make it flow. The second part of the word, car, which that's the whole word, so we're not going to break it apart. Bow, like bone, and nate, like donate. So we have nate, bonate, carbonate. And to say the entire drug name, it's calcium carbonate. Now I'm going to go back up here to the C where the pronunciation is. Well, let me go back. Here we have car. So the sound is a full word. So that's an easy one. Then like cal for California or bow for bonate or for the bone, we have part of the drug name or the sound. So the part that I'm pronouncing, I've left highlighted so that it helps differentiate, but the part that I'm not saying is in parentheses. Now sometimes it's nested into the center of a word. But again, if you say pronunci, you get the O-C-I is a C sound, not a hard C, sounding kind of like a K or something like that. All right, let's look at the next one. Okay, for this one, mag, like in magazine. Knee, like in needle. C, oh, it's that C sound again, but here it's spelled differently, transient. And again the so drum. So magnesium, or if we back build, cium, nesium, magnesium. High, like in hybrid. And drox, now this one's a little tricky. So there's no common word that has drox in it anywhere as a single word. So we're taking two words and we're merging them together. So it's kind of creating a shorthand or a slang. So I took drink box. So dra and ox, drox. And then ide, like slide. So hydroxide. So ide, droxide, hydroxide. So this drug is magnesium hydroxide. The next drug, now as we're here, I'm also going to point out that I have highlighted in red or burgundy the drug stem. And we're going to talk more about that in the actual lesson for the GI drugs and how that all works. Here we're just learning some skills on how to learn how to pronounce and spell the drug names. Okay, so what is this a picture of? So hopefully you said farm, fa from farm, mo, ticket, so the t from ticket, and here we're going to do that little merge thing again. Of course, being from New Orleans, we recognize that last picture as a praline, or of course wherever you may say praline, but it ends in "een," and that's the part that we want. Now the birdie, we're taking the D from the middle and we're adding it to the NE from the praline or praline to get Dean, and that rhymes with Dean or bean, but when we look at it, it looks like dine. We don't want to mispronounce that. It's actually pronounced Dean. So this is Dean, Tidine, Motidine, Famotidine. So that's the correct pronunciation. This one's going to be similar. Now, where do we get the first sound? Do you recognize what kind of snake this is? It's actually, we're going to come back to that. Do you know what that might be? There's our ticket again, and our birdie and our praline. All right, so this is ra, like cobra. Ni, from knit, ra ni. Ticket, tick, ranitidine. Ranitidine. Now, I'll tell you, this is one that a lot of times farm techs and nurses will mispronounce. So here's an easy way to remember how to pronounce it. The next one see if you can figure that one out. Now, so I had some fun with some of these pictures. This is a group of, you may or may not recognize this car. This is actually a Toyota Supra. And here we have a zoo and a pole. So we're going to merge those together. So let's look at this. We have S from chess. O, oh my. As o, m from men, me, as om, pra, supra, zol. So the zoo and the pole. As omeprazole. And then this one is similar, it just doesn't have the S in front. So we'll just kind of go through this one quickly. We've got that O, men, supra, pra, menpra, zol. Zol, prazole, meprazole, omeprazole. There we go. All right. The next one, bis as in biscuit, and muth as in azimuth. Okay, now this one's a little complicated, and I had to go out on a limb to find this one. There isn't much that rhymes with this one, or has muth in the word. I had to actually look this one up. It has to do with angular and charting and graphing of a cylindrical, or not a cylindrical, but a spherical object. It's just there so you know. All right, so bismuth. And what is this a picture of? Just a hint, I actually had this for lunch. Subway. So that's a sub. Do you recognize this yummy treat? Salsa. So subsa. What kind of flower this is? It's actually a lily. Subsalil. This is a cyst, another one I had to go out on a limb for. That S sound. And then we have a plate. Late, salate, lissolate, salicylate, subsalicylate. So this drug is bismuth subsalicylate. Our next drug, can you guess what these pictures are? And of course, you might be able to recognize this. And there's our friend again. And then we have another one that we're going to combine. Do you recognize what that first picture is? Let's see if we can put this together. So the first pictures up here at the top are logos. So lo, pen, lo pe, ra from cobra, lo pe, ra, mide, a mine and a slide. So mide, ramide, pyramide, loperamide. Next, Do you know what that is? How about this? Now, this one's a little tricky. I had to go out on a limb for this one too. All right, let's see if we can put this together so that it comes out to be our drug name. So, D-O-T, dot, do, da, cube, docu. And you see this picture kind of looks like it's moving, it's pulsating. So, docusate. Sate, cusate, docusate. The next part, there's our little friend again. All right, so from sofa, D from the birdie, and from the drum. So dium, sodium. So we have docusate, sodium. All right, here we go. Couple more to go. So let's start with the first picture. Can you guess what this is a picture of? There's our flower again. Anybody recognize this fella? And can you identify what that picture is of? Let's put it all together. So the first picture is pollen. I'm sorry. So pa, lily, polly, lily, lee, polly, and that's Method Man. So I took the F from method. I couldn't find a good picture of a method. First person that came to my mind was Method Man. Syllabus, so we want to get the ill sound. Polyethyl, and that's a gene. So polyethylene. The second part, this is another one I had to go out on a limb to find a picture. So glycemic, and do you know what kind of puppy dog this is? So we have and it's a collie, glycol. So polyethylene glycol. All right, let's try this one. I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Do you know who this character is? He was from Godfather, and he was over all of the mafia. So they have a title. You might recognize a title. You might be saying, I have no idea what Miss Levance is talking about. How about this picture? Can you figure out what this is? Anybody recognize this guy? And then the last part of the drug is identified here. All right, let's put this together. So the first picture is Don Carleone. So on from Don. Then the next one is dance. Dan. On Dan. Seth Rogen. From Seth. On Dan Seth. Tron from Electron. On Dan Setron. Okay. The next one. So what do you think might be the first picture or word that goes with this drug? There's our friend again. Now this is actually a comma. We'll come back to that. And we've used this one before. Instead of using the beginning of the word, we're going to use the end. So first is pro, like professional. And in this case, we're going to use the meth from method. Prometh, the comma, the sound from comma, and then the zine from magazine. So if we back build, we have zine, azine, methazine, and the drug's name is promethazine. And this is our last drug. Do you know what this is? Now, this is one that we're going to combine. So can you tell what's in that bowl and what they're doing with it? It actually is a little tricky. It's kind of a play on words. And I kind of like pop culture references. Does anybody recognize this fella? And then the last part we're going to combine again. All right, let's put that together. So the first picture is a fin. So in, like fin, in. The next is a flour mix. So we're going to take the FL from flour and the IX from mix and call it flicks. Now I didn't put like a movie, which is FLICKS, because it's not the correct spelling. So that would be something that's phonetic, but not proper spelling. So flicks is a combination of a flour mix. I from it, inflixa, and then combining mat and cab for mab. Infliximab. And again, the mab you see is highlighted in the drug name to identify it as a drug step. So hopefully going through all this kind of helps you see how to break out the drug names into easy pieces that are spelled correctly and related to words so that you can pronounce them correctly. Now, just a couple more slides. The first I need to reference the book where I found this information. So your book that you're required to have is Pharmacology Relaxed Approach, but there is also How to Pronounce Drug Names, a Visual Approach to Preventing Medication Errors by the same author. This is the recommended book. And you'll find if you get this book, these generic names are listed out similar to the way that I have them listed. I didn't use all of his. Some of them are my own words, but they rhyme with his words. I do recommend the book. It's relatively about the same cost as the required textbook, so it's not crazy expensive, and you may find it usable. This book has about 350 drugs in it, where the book that we're using has 200. So all of ours are included in this book, but I'm not using all of the drugs in this pronunciation book. Now, I've gone through all this. It's your turn. So your assignment is the drug list. And I'm going to go to that in just a moment. So I've posted the list. You need to print it out. You're going to get the brand names. There's 13 generic drugs, so there's more than 13 brand names. I need you to pick 5. And you're going to pick those, and you're going to create a spelling and pronunciation guide with words. You could do it with or without pictures. It's up to you. For those 5 brand name drugs that you picked. Now, these must be spelled correctly, so you want to use the right words or word parts to be able to do that. You can use the phonetic to help with the pronunciation guide and the sound, but you have to find a word that actually has the correct spelling. You're going to upload it to the week 2 module in the assignment. You can use a Word document, a PowerPoint, a PDF. You could even do it on paper, take a picture of it, and upload the picture. You may have an Apple product and use other word processing software that should upload as well. I'm going to take you now over to the course site. When you log into the course site, it's now going to take you to the modules. So you're going to scroll down to week 2, and there is a copy of the drug list. So you can either review it in Canvas, or you can actually download the PDF. And you see here that I have the generic name, and on the other side I have the pronunciation, phonetic pronunciation, the same over here for the brand names. So what we're looking for is we're looking for that correct spelling pronunciation. The assignment, you're going to click on the assignment. It's going to give you the same information that I provided on that last slide as to what you're going to do for this activity. And it's important that you do this assignment correctly. I won't take any attachments in a message or an email And please be careful not to post in the comment section, but actually submit your assignment. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So you're going to click submit, and don't do anything in the comments. It's going to connect to your account, to your grade book. You're going to be here in file upload. You're going to browse for the file. So if you do it in a Word program, you're going to have to save it. And I'm going to go here, and I did a version, and I attach it, and then I'm going to submit. And it uploads. And then when you see the resubmit, you know that it's gone through. So that's how you correctly submit the assignment. Plus it says over here on the right, submission was submitted. Now I will have to manually grade these. They won't be graded until at least 24 to 48 hours after the deadline. And the deadline is Tuesday at 11:59 p.m.